There's no better thing that you can do for the world than to love yourself. The reason for that is that your reaction to everyone around you is based solely on how you feel about yourself. Not only that, but you can't change anybody else. The only person you can change is yourself. And when you love yourself, you attract other people because they feel the love coming from you that you're projecting to them. But you can't give that to them. You can't really love anybody else until you fully love yourself. So, how do you do this? Well, the first thing you need to do is identify that you, in fact, don't love yourself. Because a lot of us are programmed to believe that we actually are okay, and yes, I have faults, but I'm okay, and I don't think badly about myself. But there's those times when you actually feel like you've done something wrong, that you end up blaming yourself for things, that you feel down on yourself because you made a mistake or because somebody has criticized you. And a lot of times you'll criticize yourself even when others don't criticize you, or you project what you think other people are thinking onto them, so that actually what you think about yourself is what you project on somebody else as if they're thinking that of you, and you use that as an excuse to not do certain things. Or you use that as an excuse to do things. Most people think that that's, I'm concerned about what somebody else is going to think. But really what you are doing is projecting what you think about yourself on them. So you're really concerned about what you think, which is kind of weird, actually, when you have total control over what you think. This includes when you get embarrassed. When you get embarrassed about things, it's because you feel insecure, because you're projecting what you think about yourself onto other people. Let's say that you walked out of a bathroom. This is primarily for women. If you walk out of a bathroom and you have toilet paper stuck on the bottom of your shoe, and you're walking around with this toilet paper stuck on your shoe, and you don't know it, and other people see it, and they might even giggle and not say anything to you. When you realize that that has happened, how do you feel? Okay? For men, when you're in a group setting and you say something, and all the guys around you laugh at you because what you said was stupid, and it might even be embarrassing to some lady that you're around, how does that make you feel? If it makes you feel embarrassed, it's because you're concerned about what other people think. When you love yourself and you feel confident in who you are, you don't give a shit what anybody else thinks or says. You don't care if they laugh at you, because you're totally secure in who you are. Your love for yourself basically overshadows what anybody else thinks of you. And in fact, when you feel that love for yourself, your confidence will influence the way other people respond to you. So that where they might snicker or laugh at you in one setting where you obviously are projecting insecurity, when you truly love yourself, you can get away with a lot more things, because people will see that you have confidence in yourself because of that self-love. So, one good way to work on this, one good way to discover how you feel about yourself, is to look in a mirror and say to that person in the mirror, I really love you. I totally love you. Look into the eyes of that person in the mirror that's reflecting back at you and say, I love you unconditionally. And notice how that feels. As soon as you start to feel anything in your chest or throat or stomach, any kind of reaction that might be a kind of a gripping sensation, clenching, kind of like a cringe feeling, you'll know that that means you don't feel like you're telling yourself the truth. When you look in the mirror and say something like that, and you feel like you're lying, that means that you are. That means that you don't love yourself. And by feeling that, that's a good first step, because you can work through that once you have that feeling, once you notice it. When you say, I really love myself, and you look yourself dead in the eyes and say that, and you have that feeling, that resistive reaction coming up inside of you, that sensation, go into that feeling. And what I mean by going into it is focus on the sensation in your body and how it feels, and just allow it to be. Rest in the sensation. Instead of telling yourself over and over again, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, as if you're going to convince yourself of that, which you won't if you try to do this audibly or using your mental resources. What you do is go into the emotional response, into the bodily sensation of that feeling when you say those words. And when you do that, and when you experience those feelings, and you ask yourself, can I let go of this resistance to loving myself? Ask yourself that, and ask if you will let go of that feeling of resistance to loving yourself. And when will you let it go? So go ahead and do this. Look in the mirror and say that. You can do it once or twice a day. And each time you do it, go into the sensation that comes up once you say those words. And when you go into that sensation, ask yourself, can I let this sensation go? Would I let this sensation go? When will I let it go? And do this on a regular basis, where you're going into that feeling, that sensation, that cringe feeling, that resistance, whatever you want to call it, whatever that sensation feels like to you, sit with it and allow yourself to feel it, and then let it go by asking yourself those questions. Could I let it go? Would I let it go? When? And the more you do that, the more you'll notice that when you say those words into the mirror, that cringe feeling will become less and less and less of a response. And it'll get to the point where you can look in the mirror and say those words to yourself and really believe it and be confident that it's the truth, that you do love yourself. And when you get to that point where you do love yourself, then others will notice that you're projecting that love on them naturally, and will be attracted to you because of your love that naturally flows out of you. That's all I have for today.